everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be doing a class centered around postures for benefiting the lungs. And these postures I got right out of the back of Light on Yoga by BKS Iyengar in his Postures for Various Diseases. This isn't in any particular order pertaining to the back of the book. I have sequenced this in an order that I feel is the most fluid and appropriate for our practice today. Please feel free to close your eyes or connect to a point out in front of you and connect to your breath. Sit up tall as you root down through your sitting bones. Just feeling the subtleties of your body, how you feel in your mind, what types of emotions or thoughts are present for you. And just acknowledge how you're feeling and how you're doing today, knowing that each day is different, brings new challenges, new joys. All of which can affect our practice and how we practice day to day. Take a full breath in, and as you exhale, let it out with a sigh. Full breath in, exhale. One more, inhale, exhale, and gently open your eyes. Please begin in Tadasana, mountain pose at the front of your mat. In mountain pose, press down through the inner edges of your feet, lengthen through the top of your head, extend your arms down so you're charging through your arms and your legs equally. Move your shoulder blades onto your back, lift your chin, and gaze at a steady point. Interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, then work your arms toward straight. Bend your knees so your thighs are more toward parallel to the floor, but bring your weight back into your heels. Tone your abdomen, round your back, and bring your forehead to or toward your knees. Keep moving your shoulders way back toward the ceiling. Arms toward vertical, thighs toward parallel. Power posture, hands bound. Inhale, stand up, arms by your side, mountain pose. Tree pose. Place your right foot anywhere along the inner edge of your left leg as long as you're not pushing into your knee. Point your toes straight down, push foot into leg, leg into foot, and join your palms in front of your heart. Feel free to stay here or reach your arms straight up over your head, rooting to rise, rooting down through your inner leg, and extending up through your torso, out through your fingertips. You can either have your hands together or shoulder distance apart. Push foot into leg, leg into foot as you hold the posture. Lower your hands, lower your foot. Second side, place your left foot anywhere as long as it's not on your knee. Push foot into leg, leg into foot, palms in front of your heart. Stay working here or extend your arms toward the ceiling, hands shoulder distance or together. If you crossed one thumb last time, try crossing the other thumb this time and stretch tall. Move your rib cage slightly back, tailbone slightly forward, and extend from hips to armpits. Lower your hands, lower your foot. Take your arms out wide like a saguaro cactus. Then wrap your right arm under your left arm. Hold shoulders, join backs of hands, or join your palms. Bend your knees and just like chair pose, sit back towards your heels. From here, lift your right knee on top of your left knee, squeeze knee to knee, maybe hook your foot behind your calf, then bring more weight into your standing heel as you sit a little bit deeper. Lift your torso a little taller, then try to draw your elbows down toward your belly button. Lift up through your heart, keep your chin level with the floor. Unbind your legs, arms by your side. Mountain pose. Elbows wide to the side. Take your left arm under your right arm. Hold shoulders, join backs of hands or palms. Bend your knees. Step left knee on top of right knee. Squeeze knee to knee. Maybe hook your foot as long as it feels okay on your knees. Bring more weight back toward your standing heel. Lengthen through the top of your head. Pull your elbows down toward your belly button. Stand up, arms by your side, mountain pose. Utkatasana, reach your arms up, palms face each other. Bend your knees, try to keep your upper back in a slight back bend. So you're trying to sit up straight and tall through your torso as you sit low through your hips. Sit back toward your heels, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back and extend your arms longer. It's like you're pulling from 2 points, arms toward the ceiling, hips toward the floor, creating length in your spine. Inhale, stand up, arms by your side. Lower your hands to the floor, come into downward facing dog. Take a moment here just to breathe into your posture. You can bend your knees or straighten your legs, or bend and straighten your knees one at a time to walk your dog, bringing a little bit of movement into your pose. Make sure your hands are pressing down into the floor evenly. Root down through the inner and outer edges of your hands and lift the center of your palm. You can even squeeze your ring finger and thumb toward each other to get that lifting action. Bring your feet together. Step your right foot between your hands. Move your back heel vertical above your toe mounds and lift your chin. Keep your back thigh lifting away from the floor by pushing down through your foot. Make sure your right knee is above your right ankle. Then lift your torso, hands on hips. Maybe lift your arms straight up. Lunging Virabhadrasana 1 or high lunge. Push through your feet, lengthen your spine, reach up through your torso as you press through your lower half of your body. Lower your hands to the floor. Press back to down dog. Step your left foot between your hands. Back heel vertical. Lift your torso, hands to hips. Maybe lift your arms. Make sure your left knee stays directly above your ankle. Back heel above your toe mounts. Push through your feet, make your hips more buoyant. Move your ribs back, extend length from hips to armpits. Reach up. Lower your hands. Step back, down dog. Come into a top of a push-up, plank pose. Hold plank pose. Feel free to use knees on the floor behind your hips for more support. Tuck your tailbone down toward your heels, belly toward your spine, ribs back, shoulder blades on your back, and even lift your gaze slightly forward. Lower halfway down, bend your elbows straight back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Push back up. Lower halfway down. Push back up. One more, lower halfway down. Push back up. Down dog. Look forward between your hands, bend your knees, step or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. For the first Uttanasana, bend your knees, take your ribs to thighs, then bring your face closer to your shins. If you can keep ribs connected with thighs, then maybe work your legs towards straight, sitting bones toward the ceiling. You can choose to either keep hands on the floor or take arms wrapped around legs variation, backs of calves and palms connected. Pull your elbows into your calves, shoulders back toward your back side of your body and up away from the floor to grow your neck longer. Then maybe press your face into your shins as long as your neck feels okay with it. Next inhale, lengthen your spine, place your hands on the floor, bend your knees, place hands on hips, shoulders back, stand up. All right, take your arms over your head, interlace your fingers, extend pointer finger and cross your thumbs. Lean your hips to your left, torso to your right. Press evenly through your inner feet, lengthen your spine, pull your rib cage back and your tailbone forward. Do your best not to overarch your back. Keep breathing. Keep stretching. Inhale, come back up. Switch the clasp of your fingers to the non-dominant clasp. Lean your hips to the right, torso to the left. Push evenly through your inner feet. Lengthen your spine. Move your rib cage back, tailbone forward, and lift your chin. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, arms by your side, mountain pose. Take a moment here. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. All right, turn and face the front of your mat. Bend your knees, place your hands on the floor for Uttanasana. Then step your left leg back, high lunge again. Only this time spin your back heel to the floor. Line up your two heels, turn your left toe sharply forward and to the left. Keep your right knee stacked above your ankle. Take hands to hips. Lift your torso. Move right hip back, left hip forward. Maybe reach your arms over your head. Keep pressing right hip back, left hip forward. Push more through your back foot to take the weight out of your front foot a little. Then extend up in your torso. Move your throat back, look up toward your hands or past your hands, and maybe join your palms. Virabhadrasana 2, take your arms wide to the side. Keep your right toes pointing straight ahead, then turn your left toes toward the long edge of your mat out in front of you. Widen right knee to the right, press your feet down and toward each other, and tilt your right sitting bone toward your right heel. Keep pressing more through your back leg, again to take some of the load off of your front leg. Push your arms longer, lift up through your chest, keep your chin lifting. Straighten your right leg, turn your right toes in. Bring your fingertips in front of your chest, bend your knees, step or jump feet together, arms by your side. Turn to face the front of your mat, step to the front, bend your knees, lower your hands. Then step your right foot back, lunge. Back heel vertical to start. Then spin your back heel down, line up your two heels, left knee directly above ankle, hands to hips. Lift your torso. Press tailbone forward, move left hip back, right hip forward to square up toward the front. Then push more through your back leg, reach your arms up, extend hips to armpits, armpits to fingertips, maybe sit a little bit deeper. Pressure your tailbone forward, maybe pull your throat back, look up, feel free to join your palms. Warrior 2, arms out wide to the side, gaze beyond your left fingertips, turn your right toes more straight out to the long edge of your mat, keep your left toes pointing toward the front. Widen your left knee to the left, push more through your outer right foot and press your back foot to the wall behind you. Tilt your left sitting bone more toward your left heel to level out your pelvis. Straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes in. Fingertips in front of your chest. Bend your knees, step or hop, feet together, arms by your side. Face the front of your mat. Step to the back of your mat. From here, take your arms alongside your torso, mountain pose. Then on an inhale, you're going to step forward with your right leg and swing your arms up at the same time. Ready? Go. Step forward a step. Press through your right foot from your left foot, so you're shifting from the back foot to front foot. Come to your left tippy toenails. Now here, you'll find you might arch your back or slunch forward. Try to be neutral in your spine. Square your hips and torso forward. Move your rib cage back, tailbone forward. Keep your arms and leg in one straight line like they're both part of the same stick. Then lean forward at your waist, at your hips. Lift your legs as you lower your arms toward parallel to the floor. If you need to bend your standing knee, bend it. If it's straight, tone your thigh and lift your kneecaps. Hold. Reach leg and arms away from each other. Maybe join your palms. Look beyond your thumbs. Stand up, back of your mat, mountain pose. Swing your arms up, step your left foot forward. One step, shift from back foot to front foot. Come onto your right tippy toes, toenails. Move your ribs back, tailbone forward, extend your arms longer. Get in one straight line as best as you can. Then start to hinge slowly forward as you lift your leg up. Rotate your outer right hip down, inner thigh up. Kick arms and leg away from each other. Maybe join your palms. Again, you can bend your standing knee for more support. Stand up, back of your mat. All right. Stand so that your feet are about 2 fists width apart from the inner arches. Then take your hands to your thighs. Bend your knees enough so that you can drape your torso on top of your thighs so there's no space at all between your ribs and thighs. Then take your hands to the floor, lift your right toes up, slide your right palm underneath your right foot, and then do the same thing, left hand, left foot. So both palms face up into the soles of your feet, your toe tips are in your wrist creases, and your thumbs point in. You can keep your knees bent, or if your rib cage and your thighs stay together, lean forward into your toes, and maybe work your legs straighter. Then move your shoulders back toward the wall behind you or toward the ceiling. Then bend your elbows out to the side, reach your chest toward your thighs, face toward your shins, push hands into feet, feet in the hands. This is one of the postures that is the most beneficial for the lungs, as stated by BKS Iyengar in Light on Yoga. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Step off of your hands. Bend your knees, place hands on hips, shoulders back, and slowly stand up. Downward facing dog. Stretch the backs of your legs, push your arms forward, feet down and back. Keep your rib cage moving toward your spine. Continue breathing slow and deep, even breaths. And then from this point on, I'm going to encourage you to start doing Ujjayi Pranayama. So while you're in down dog, if you've never done Ujjayi Pranayama before, it's the kind of breath that sounds like you're fogging up a mirror. So you can start by taking a full breath in, then exhaling with your mouth open like you're fogging up a mirror and go. Then remember that tone in the back of your throat. When you did that, keep that tone there, close your mouth and inhale through your nose. Keep the tone there, keep your mouth closed and exhale out your nose. Sounds a lot like Darth Vader. Keep that breathing if you can, if it's not too uncomfortable. Try to make your breath 5 to 8 counts in, 5 to 8 counts out. Then lower all the way down onto your belly. Do your best to keep that breathing throughout the rest of class. I might remind you here and there. Take your arms alongside your torso. Turn your index fingers straight ahead and flare all the rest of your fingers wide. Grip the floor with your fingertips for Abujangasana, Cobra pose. Push the tops of your feet down. Your feet can be hip distance or together. Tighten your glutes. Press your tailbone down, but soften your glutes just a little bit. What you want is you want your pelvis pressing into the floor to keep a strong base. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, then pull your elbows in toward your torso. Push your tailbone forward, ribs back, push your hands down and back, and slowly curl off the floor. Maybe come up pretty high, maybe stay down pretty low. Totally up to you, but make sure your hips stay on the floor. Slowly lower back down. Take a moment, rest. You can rest your head on your hands or on the floor. Similar but slightly different. You're going to bend your knees and point your feet straight up toward the ceiling. Point your toes, flare your toes wide. Then place your hands like you just did for Cobra pose. This is knee bent variation. The idea is to clamp your heels toward your butt, press your tailbone down. Maybe when you curl up, you can touch your head to your feet. I cannot, but if you can, by all means, go for it. Push your hands down and back, move your shoulder blades onto your back, push your hands down and back, and lift your torso up. Squeeze your heels toward your butt, point your toes, pull your head back, maybe straighten your arms, maybe go for your feet. I don't know, just go somewhere. And lower all the way back down. Oh, so good. Take a breather. Upward facing dog. Walk your hands back a little bit further between your shoulders and hips. Push the tops of your feet down hip distance. Then in one movement, straight arms, straight legs, hips off the floor. Press your tailbone forward, shoulders back, curl back, lift your chin, then gaze beyond the tip of your nose. Downward facing dog. Pigeon prep. Slide your right knee behind your right wrist. Point your right toes toward your left hip. Lower your left knee in line with your right heel and slide your left knee back. Feel free to stay upright. If you need to prop your right hip up on a blanket or a block so it presses into something, feel free to do so. Otherwise, fold forward, forearms to the floor. Maybe some of you can take your whole torso down to the floor, totally up to you. Squeeze knees down and toward each other from front to back and side to side. Walk your hands back, press back to downward facing dog. Step your left knee behind your left wrist. Point your left toes toward your right hip, right knee in line with left heel, and slide your right knee back. Squeeze knees down and toward each other from front to back and side to side. Feel free to prop your left hip up on something or just go all the way down, forearms or torso to the floor. Slow, steady breathing. Maybe keep doing Ujjayi Pranayama as instructed before. Place your hands, press back, downward dog. Bring your feet together. You have the option to jump through your hands to seated if you can, or just try to jump to your hands, then bend your knees, then lower your bottom, and then slide your feet forward. An easier way to get down. Now from here, we're going into Pashimo Tanasana, intense west stretch. Slide your bottom flesh back, rotate your inner thighs down, outer hips up. Make sure your kneecaps and toes point straight up and your flesh is even underneath you. Your feet, like a standing forward fold, can be hip distance or together. Your knees can be bent or straight. Ideally, take your knees to an angle that, again, your rib cage can touch your thighs before your spine rounds. Once you reach that point, only extend your legs straight to the point that your ribs and thighs stay connected. Then inhale, re-lengthen your spine. Exhale, widen your elbows to the sides, heart first, head last, face toward your shins. Actively press your big toe mounds forward. Push your heels down and like you're trying to pull them apart. And also push your heels down and like you're dragging them toward your hips, like you're going to bend your knees, whether your knees are bent or straight. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine. Slowly sit up. Janu Shirshasana, take your left knee to the left. You can take your knees at a 90-degree angle, or you can widen your left knee a little bit wider. Aim for more of the top of your foot to the floor. Then turn your torso towards your right leg. Just like the other straight-legged forward folds, feel free to bend this knee so your rib to thigh happens. Otherwise, straighten your legs. Forward fold, heart first, head last. Maybe grab shin, ankle, or foot with your left hand. You can keep right arm to the right for support to help you turn your torso straight down. If you can keep that without the support of your arm, feel free to hold your outer foot with your right hand. Take forehead to or toward your knee. Push foot into hands, hands into foot. Again, maybe continue your Ujjayi breath. Next, inhale, slowly sit up. Turn to your left knee, right hand to thigh, left hand behind you, twist to the left. Lift your left arm up, palm pointing toward your right foot. Take your right hand inside your right leg or right forearm to the floor, or even take your whole right side down to your right thigh. You can go anywhere along the way. Make sure you stay as sideways as possible. Keep the twist. If you're using your right forearm or hand on the floor, push that hand or forearm down and toward your right foot as you extend length on your left side. Then inhale, slowly come back up. Turn your torso forward, kick your left leg straight ahead. Then take your right knee to the right. The same thing, take it 90 degrees or wider. Top of foot toward the floor on your right leg. Then turn your torso to your left leg. Feel free to bend this knee or straighten. Then fold, heart first, head last. Grab shin, ankle, or foot. Keep left hand to the left for more support to turn toward the floor. Or if you can keep that, grab your outer foot with your left hand as you fold, forehead to knee. Next, inhale, slowly lengthen your spine. Sit up. Turn toward your right knee, left hand to your right thigh, right hand behind you. Keep the length in your spine. Lift your right arm up, palm pointing toward your left foot. Keep your left toes and kneecap pointing up as you lean to the left. Feel free to stay there or place your left hand or forearm to the floor inside your leg Extend length through your right side as you push your left arm down and toward your left foot to help twist open and stay as sideways as possible. Inhale, slowly sit back up. Extend your right leg straight ahead. Lie on your back for Jetta Parivartanasana. You're going to pull your knees toward your torso and take your arms out wide to the side. You can have your elbows and saguaro cactus arms, or you can do arms straight variation depending on how much room you have in your space. Pull your heels toward your hips, squeeze your knees together, then rotate your left hip away from your left shoulder so your knees will point more toward your left elbow. But swing your knees over toward the right and hold. You can go a little or almost to a hover. Turn your belly to the left. Then lift them back up. Rotate your right hip away from your right shoulder. Swing your knees up toward your left elbow. Maybe go a little or to a hover. Clamp your heels closed. Press your left knee up into your right knee. Turn your belly to the right. And come back up. Hips to center. Lower your feet to the floor. Point your toes straight ahead. Take your elbows outside your rib cage. One at a time, walk your shoulders underneath your spine. Push the back of your head, shoulders, feet down, and lift your hips up. Feel free to hold the outer edges of your mat or interlace your fingers underneath you and walk your shoulders in one at a time toward the center of your back. Press the back of your head down so your chin stays lifting. Press the back of your shoulders down and to lift your chest. And press the inner edges of your feet down to lift your outer hips. Hold. Release your hands. Lower your hips. Rest your knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable on your torso or by your side. Constructive rest. You can either do Situ Bandhasana bridge pose again or Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel. Take your feet flat on the floor, hip distance, point your toes straight ahead. If you're going into bridge pose, go ahead and go into bridge pose now. Otherwise, place your hands beside your ears, point your fingers toward your shoulders and slightly out. I take my hands a little bit wider than my mat, so my pinky finger and ring finger come off the mat. The rest of my hand is on the mat. Push your feet and hands down, lift your hips up, move your shoulders back, then push your hands down enough that you can flip, not roll, to the top of your head. From here, shrug your shoulders back toward your hips, up toward the ceiling. Push through your feet, especially the inner edges, as you roll toward the tip of your nose. Then maybe push your arms straight, then press your chest through your arms to try to get your shoulders above your wrists. Maybe walk your feet in. Push your inner feet down, outer hips up. Push down through your arms. Move your shoulder blades toward each other onto your back and breathe. Slowly lower all the way down. Rest, knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable on your torso or by your side. Take a moment, slow your breathing, Ujjayi breath if you're still doing Ujjayi breath. Either roll to your side to sit up or rock back to rock forward to sit up. Come on to all fours, hands and knees. If you're like me, I feel in the winter time especially, my sinuses drain when I do postures like the ones we're doing today. So for me, that tells me that it's helping my lymphatic system flow, and it's clearing up my sinuses. Take your right leg straight back toward the wall behind you. Cross your right knee over to the left, outside your left shin, and place your right shin directly outside your left shin and squeeze your shins together. Walk your hands back toward your knees, then start to sit back toward your heels. Keep squeezing your legs toward each other, and you can totally keep your hands down on the floor. We're doing Gomukhasana for the purpose of smashing the calves in a special way, so that we can do Virasana after this. So feel free to just keep hands down, or come up onto your knees with your hands. Sit up tall. Takes a lot of balance, a lot of focus to stay upright. You can stay here, maybe palms in front of your heart. You can also do eagle arms, which would be left elbow under, or you can do regular cow face arms, which would be right arm up, left arm down, bend your elbows, and clasp your fingers behind your upper back. You can also use a tie, a scarf, a shirt, or a yoga strap to hold on to. Reach your arms up, palms in front of your heart, lean forward, and back to all fours. Swing your left leg straight back, then to the right, shin to shin, point your toes back, and walk your hands back. Keep squeezing your legs in. Sit back on your heel or toward your heel. Maybe keep hands down, maybe lift hands to thigh. Maybe palms in front of your heart. Maybe eagle arms, right arm under left arm. Or left arm up, right arm to the right, shoulders back, bend your elbows, reach for your fingers. Unbind, reach your arms up, palms in front of your heart. Shift forward to all fours, then back to downward facing dog. Stretch your heels toward the floor to stretch the backs of your legs. Lower your knees to the floor. Go closer to the front of your mat. And if you have a block, a blanket, or a pillow for underneath your hips, and you need one, and you know you need one, go ahead and grab it. Lean forward. Take your block or prop of choice between your 2 feet like so. So it looks like this. Then bring your knees closer together. They don't have to be all the way together, but you do ideally want your outer knee to line up with your hip bone. If that's too much, feel free to take your knees a little wider, but no wider than straight ahead. Have a seat on your feet, sliding your calf flesh back with your hands, and sit there on your heels. If you don't have a block and you still want to do this position, what you can do instead is you can take your feet in a little bit closer, toes still pointing straight back, then slide back so that you're sitting on your heels but with your feet separated. So there's options. So as you're sitting there in this posture, push down through your shins, squeeze in with your ankles, press your tailbone down, and then extend up through the top of your head. You can gaze at a point out in front of you. Your hands, just place them wherever they're most comfortable. And connect to your breath. You can stay here, totally 100% fine, or lean forward to take the block out from underneath you if you're going to go back for Supta Virasana. Reset your legs if you need to, press through your shins, slide your calves back, then place your hands quickly behind you so you have something supporting you. Push your shins down to press your tailbone up toward the ceiling. Then turn your fingers toward your toes, thumbs pointing in. Keep pressing your tailbone up, bend your elbows, maybe slide your fingers maybe on top of your feet. Bend your elbows and lower your forearms to the floor. Move very slowly, and do make sure you're not trying to do this with a prop under your bottom. You could really hurt your knees if you do that, and you could also hurt your back. So once you're here, you can stay, maybe look back, or slide your elbows closer to your feet and come all the way down, again moving extremely slowly. Some people's knees do not like this, so go wherever you can still hold and be comfortable. Stay here or extend your arms above your head toward the opposite wall and maybe hook your thumbs and breathe. Always feel free to exit a posture before I instruct you to do so. If your body's saying, "Get me out," come out. Place your hands on your feet, push your hands down into your feet, push your elbows down, then slide your hands back, push your hands down to lift your torso up. Be very mindful of your knees. As you walk your hands forward, keep squeezing your legs in, then slowly push up to all fours, then press back to downward dog. Make sure you're being still in your down dog and slowly toning your thighs, lifting your kneecaps to straighten your legs. Maybe continue your Ujjayi Pranayama. Then slowly take your knees down to the floor. Sit on your mat so you're facing the long edge. You can sit up on a prop if you know you need a lift in your pelvis so that your lower back is still lifting in and up. You can do all seated poses up on a block like this. Otherwise, sit on the floor. You can rotate inner thighs down, outer hips up manually with your legs. Move your bottom flesh back. If you find that having your heels closer to you is not as accessible, you can take your legs out a little further away. Just know that the wider the angle between your heel and your hip, you must clamp your heels toward your hips so as not to injure your knees. So from here, push your feet into each other, inner and outer edges of your feet, both simultaneously to start. Instead of thinking pressing your knees down, extend them out like you're being pulled out to the sides by your knees. Then from here, lengthen your spine. You can either stay upright, maybe hands behind you, lifting up through your sternum, or you can go for the rounded variation where you open your feet up like a book, continuously pushing the outer edges of your feet together, reaching forward through your heart, maybe rounding your spine, forehead to feet variation, or lengthen your spine the whole way down, heart to feet, arms out in front, and forehead to the floor, similar to child's pose. Continue to push your feet into each other, extend your knees wide, and tone your outer glutes. Ujjayi breath or natural breath. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine. Walk your hands back. Slowly sit up. Grab your outer knees with your hands, lean back slightly to pull your legs together. Then take your hands under your thighs, widen your legs, and slide your legs out wide. You can go feet about as wide as the corners of your mat, or you can take your stance a little more narrow, totally up to you. Push down through your legs. Feel free to bend your knees if you need to for more support for your hamstrings. You can also put props like blankets under your knees as well. Actively push inner and outer leg down. Maybe place hands out in front or hands back behind. Just like the last pose, you can stay right here, or keeping your toes and kneecaps pointing up, walk your hands forward and go forearms to the floor, or torso all the way to the floor. Or you can just rest forehead toward the floor. You can also take forehead to a block, as I've instructed several times before. And just hang out here for a few breaths. On your next inhale, lengthen your spine. Slowly sit back up. This next posture is called Kormasana, or tortoise pose, and there's a couple of different variations that you might want to try. The first variation is Omega variation, which is similar to Baddha Konasana, only your feet are about 2 fists width apart, and you're lifting your knees up rather than pushing them down or out. So you want to lift your knees up to pull your heels toward your hips so your inner thighs stay strong. And on this one, you're just going to fold forward until you feel like you folded forward enough. And again, you can take a block between your feet so you have something to rest your head on, and hold that. The other option you have is a much more difficult option. You take your arms inside your legs, then slide your hands under your legs, and then you keep your palms pointing down to the floor as you point your hands as far back as feels optimal. Move your shoulders back. You can stay here. You can put a block under your head again, or slide your legs out straight. Push down through your palms, move your shoulders back, and take your chin to the floor, and do that variation. Hold for several breaths. If you need to come out before I say, feel free to come out. In order to come out of the variation you see me in now, you've got to push your heels down and slide them back. As you see, I have a blanket, which is very helpful. So my blanket allows me to slide my heels back, bend your elbows, and then come out. If you're in an Omega pose, again, you grab your knees, pull your knees up. Use your hands to pull your legs in. Wrap your arms around your legs. Squeeze knees into arms, arms into knees. And then hold here. Move your shoulders back and maybe drop your head forward. Seated child's posture. Lift your head up. Next, we're going to use a block. You can also use 2 blocks. So the posture is a supported version of shoulder stand. We're not actually going to be on our shoulders. We're going to be more on our upper backs for this variation. So if you know you can do shoulder stand and you're not afraid to do that at home, and you've done it before and you've been taught, please feel free to do shoulder stand your way. I'm just going to teach it this way. So you're going to take 2 blocks or 1 block to the floor like so. And if you have 1 block, you can mess with how tall you make your block. Just know that when your block is on this narrower setting, it's going to be less stable than down like this, where it can't really fall over like this. But when it's up like this, it can easily fall over. So if you've got 2 blocks and you want to go higher, I recommend the 2 blocks. So then set those to the side. You want to make sure when you set your blocks to the side that they're nearby so that you can easily grab them with your arm when you're in a back bend and slide them under your hips. All right, so here we go. You're going to set up just like you would set up for bridge pose. Elbows outside your rib cage, move your shoulders back, feet down, lift your hips up. And then you might find, oh, my 2 block setup is way too high. So you take 1 block instead. That's what I'm going to do. And slide it underneath you. So then you have your block on whichever height, whichever setting, however many blocks you have. And you're going to grab on to the outer edges of your mat. Use that to squeeze your shoulder blades in. You can even lift your upper back, pull your shoulder blades back, and re-lower your shoulders. Keep your chin out of your chest, very important, as you push your shoulders down. From here, you can lift and lower your hips if you need to get your flesh even under your pelvis. And then one at a time, pull your knees up toward your chest. Hold onto your mat and maybe extend your legs toward the ceiling. And hold. It's very similar to Viparita Karani, only there's no wall. Push your legs straight up. Flare your toes. Keep your Ujjayi breath if you're still breathing Ujjayi, or just breathe naturally. Keep your upper back engaged and strong. Head pressing back into the floor. Then slowly bend your knees. One at a time, step your feet down to the floor. Push your feet down to lift your hips up. Slide your block out from underneath you and lower your hips to the floor. Rest your feet wide, knees together. Maybe take your hands somewhere along your torso, on your torso, or on your chest. Roll onto your side and come up to a comfortable seated position, maybe resting on a block, a blanket, or a pillow for a short pranayama breathing exercise. This pranayama exercise involves retention of the breath, meaning we hold the breath on the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. So if you have any issues like high blood pressure, dizziness, vertigo, or if you suffered from stroke, please don't do this exercise and just do deep breathing instead at a consistent rate rather than holding the retention. Close your eyes or maybe gaze at a point out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. Connect to your natural breath. You can either do this with or without the Ujjayi tone. Breathe in for 5 and out for 5. So it's in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, normal. Exhale. Take a couple more rounds of normal breathing. The next one will be in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5. After your next exhale, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe naturally. A few rounds of regular breathing. The next one is similar, only it's inhale for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5. This one is the most difficult, so if you need to inhale before the end of the counting, please feel free to inhale. This takes practice to be able to do, so be patient with yourself. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe naturally. You may choose to either stay upright in a seated meditative posture or lie down for any type of shavasana or rest. You can prop up on bolsters, use blankets, props as necessary. You may also bring legs up the wall for Viparita Karani. And allow yourself to fully and completely relax into the posture you've chosen for yourself today. Allow yourself to focus on the space between your thoughts. And when thoughts and feelings arise, simply just witness them and do your best to not engage, but just observe. and see how long you can rest your attention there. Feel free to be here for 5 to 7 minutes and enjoy the rest of your day.